This is my last video. Before I step on to a mostly lost path across the plains of southeast Kansas, from the Oklahoma-Kansas border to the small central Kansas town of Galva. There, the Cherokee Trail intersects the Santa Fe Trail for the westward journey to California. This trail was basically forgotten after the early 1860s. But from the first wagon trains to make the journey in 1849 to the action of a small-town militia that stopped traffic during America's Civil War, thousands of wagons used this passage to travel from the Indian Territory of Oklahoma, as well as Missouri and Arkansas, attracted by the lure of gold in California, seeking new lives in the West. Now I hope to generate interest in this 142-mile historic trail. For me, this journey began with 2 books consolidating old diaries and journals and records. The books were compiled by Jack and Pat Fletcher. I met the Fletchers for the first time. So join me now as I share more of today's people who have kept yesterday's trails alive for tomorrow's generations to know about the Cherokee Trail. A huge treat for me was to collaborate with Richard Hunt from the Oregon-California Trails Association. Mike and Richard on the 4-wheeler going up the draw. The traffic came down that way and across the Walnut River.
Okay, we're at the Walnut River crossing of the Cherokee Trail in 𝙃𝙀𝙀. Bought the place in 1978 from Clarence King. Clarence King bought the place from 𝙃𝙚𝙡𝙀 in 1910, so I'm the 3rd property owner of this land since conception. Gene Fulmer would bring me articles of the old cowboy days where the gunfights and the horse stealing was going on. So my real name was Hufford. I was adopted when I was 4. Hufford was a land baron down at Latham, and he was mentioned in a book called 80 Years of Butler County by Moody. So we got to checking him out. He married Ada Shivington, who was my great-great-grandmother. She had 5 sisters and 6 brothers. Watt Shivington and Bob Shivington was horse thieves. Bob was a killer. He killed a marshal in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, and he killed another guy over in 𝙃𝙀𝙀 that tried to hang him. So that's why I have a direct tie to this place, because Joseph King, Clarence King's dad, started the Butler County Anti-Horse Thief Association in 1878 and was chasing my uncles. And then I got out of the service in the 70s and I met a guy named Mickey Wells. Mickey Wells is a full-blooded Cherokee. His forefathers come in on the Trail of Tears. Jack and Pat Fletcher, who wrote the Cherokee Trail Diaries, sent me some information about Carters and Shores. They crossed here in 54, 56, and 59 with 700 head of cattle going to Encampment, Wyoming. So I was telling Mickey about that, and he says, well, my great-great-grandpa Shores, and I said, well, he crossed here 3 times. said he had a cousin up in Encampment, Wyoming, who had just bought a piece of property up there where the Cherokee Trail went through. So we buried Mikey's mom 2 weeks ago Tuesday, and he was talking to her. Her dad's dad stole Cynthia Ann Parker off of a wagon train in Oklahoma, who would come to be Quantum Parker's mama. So Mickey's related to Quantum Parker on his mama's side. So it's really interesting how everything intertwines. It just keeps intertwining, and it just, history is so important. It just, if nobody takes care of it, it's going to go away.
Here at the Independence Historical Museum and Art Center, I want to introduce Pat and Jack Fletcher to talk about the Cherokee Trail through Kansas and beyond. So let's give them a round of applause.
Detailed map, it's a good overall map, and if you look here, maybe I can point my foot without blocking your view. You're right down in the bottom right-hand corner. There's Tahlequah, the Indian Nation, so forth. There's Tahlequah, too. And that's where it started. 1849, we had a wagon train from Fayetteville, and we had one from Tahlequah, and they joined, and they came up this way. And here's where they took the Kansas border, came up to Kansas, Santa Fe Trail, out the Santa Fe Trail, past Bensville Fort, here are the cutoffs of the Santa Fe Trail. Instead of taking them, they went to Pueblo, Colorado, and then up the Front Range. Up the Front Range, there's Colorado Springs, and so forth, and into Denver. And they crossed the South Platte of Denver and stayed on the Front Range. Then when they got into Wyoming, this is the 1849 wagon, the first Cherokee White wagon. It went over here to Fort Bridger, and this is the California Trail, and that's where they joined the California Trail and went out with everybody else. And then this is the Southern Trail, blazed in 1850, and it goes clear through about 1862. So this is the Southern Trail, and this is the one we're going to be talking about.
This will be the last video, I believe, before I actually step out on the trail there at the Oklahoma border. I think it's about 165 miles up to Calva, where the trail intersects with the Santa Fe Trail and going on out west toward Colorado. So, yeah, it's exciting to be this close to it. I appreciate you guys being patient with me as I've studied it and researched it and shared some of that with you. Just wasn't able to get out on any trails. We had an operation in the family, and I needed to be at home to help with that and some recovery, but that has gone well. Thank you for your prayers. And my plans are, beginning in April, I'll be doing the Cherokee Trail from the 4th of April to probably around the 17th or 18th, and then after that, toward the end of April, I'll be meeting with PTL. Ken is coming from Connecticut, and meeting with several other folks, and we're going to be hiking again this old Elk River Trail, one of my favorites in the area, about a 15-mile trail there, and that'll be a lot of fun too. So I'll be bringing you those before then in May. I've got a couple of other hikes and some places in Kansas that I want to bring you, but now we're going to get on this Cherokee Trail. So come on, let's go walking together.